Hey guys, Tom itself here playing some Modern War 2, is it? Yeah, and I'm going to be using an SMG without stopping power here on this big map. Sort of trying to get in the mindset of what I think Modern War 3 might be kind of like. But I don't want to talk about gameplay, instead I want to talk about the transition between Call of Duties that we see pretty much every November, and how Activision, Infinity Ward, and Treyarch are managing that. Believe me, I will have lots to say about the Modern War 3 gameplay, it's just not yet. Also, while I definitely am a Call of Duty fan, I can admit that I don't have anything against Battlefield. I will probably end up getting Battlefield on the PC, but I kind of want to think about things from the Activision point of view here, and Infinity Ward, and talk about the transition to Modern War 3 here as it comes up. So our yearly installment of Call of Duty is only a couple months away. Only a couple months yearly, that's kind of funny. But it's become almost like a subscription service in its own right. You get a different game every year, and pretty much everyone moves to that game. So I'm sure the folks at Activision are wondering, how can we make sure everyone buys the next Call of Duty game? And I have one very simple idea. Apply some minor patches to the previous Call of Duty games to dilute the audience playing the current Call of Duty game, and then when the new one comes out, everyone will jump onto that one. For example, they actually did try to patch World at War the other day, and it took the hackers less than 48 hours, and from my understanding the game is essentially unplayable due to the hackers, which is kind of too bad because I would hop back on it for a little while if it still worked. I would sort of hope that they would reduce the damage of the MP40 on the Xbox to be the same as that of the PC. It's just ridiculous where it stands right now. So Call of Duty 4 is actually kind of playable depending on where you get into. It's just, it gives me a freaking headache with all of that scrolling chat mess, and I can't stand to play it for very long. Don't tend to lose very often still. You do run into people who have unfair advantages, but mostly it's just really annoying having that chat over there. For Modern War 2, whatever quick, dirty fix they have to use to make explosives less of an issue, I think that would bring a lot of people back, at least for a little while, even if it was something like the Express playlist where you actually have to choose to use the different rule set. That would be enough to get people to try Modern War 2 again for a little while at least. So that would make it so that when Battlefield comes out, people wouldn't feel like they'd been playing the exact same game for the past 6 months. They're trying something else, and maybe they'd be willing to wait 2 more weeks to play a different game. I find it insulting that I can't play a game that I bought 3 years ago still because hackers have free reign in it. I feel kind of let down by the company that made that game. When I put down 50-60 bucks on a game and then who knows how much more on DLC, when I can't play the game 2 or 3 years later, I feel let down by the developer. You know, people still obviously play the games, you can still get games, it's just they're so full of hackers that it's no fun to play. Alright, I'm going to come back to the topic of what they can do to make the Modern Warfare release successful, to what they've already done to make it successful. And to me, the biggest thing that they've done to this point is COD XP, and giving all those people access to quality capture devices, and then letting them post the footage on YouTube means we have lots of good information, good footage, and we can talk about it openly. We don't have to watch some kid with a VCR recording his terrible gameplay of the beta, because that's the only thing we can find. No, instead we have quite a bit of footage, we know a lot, and we can talk about it. We have a lot more quality information, especially for early September, about what the gameplay is going to look like, the perks, the guns, and how things are going to fit together. Whereas in Black Ops we got told things like, ooh, there's an RC car, you can change the reticle on your red dot, and oh, by the way, there's a throwing knife replacement as the tomahawk that just is the same thing, it just bounces around more. Yeah, okay, those things are cool for some people, but I'm more interested in the core game mechanics, and that's what we know a lot more about Modern Warfare 3 than we did about Black Ops at this point, and that's good news from my opinion. So putting the game in the hands of people who have a clue how to play, you know, not all professional, but if you're uploading videos of a game on YouTube regularly, you probably understand the mechanics, and you probably also understand the technical aspects of how to put out game footage, how to talk about it, and so it's just helping to build up the hype, and it's giving us good information and quality footage. So you'll pardon me, I couldn't actually figure this out, I didn't look too hard, but I'm just speculating here. And the surprising thing was that they had a real competition OSGAD tournament at COD XP. Well, tournament rules, MLG, they normally take out a lot of the stuff that is pretty normal for just pub matches. A lot of the kill streaks, perks, and stuff are no longer in the game, so I'm curious if they're building the game more around a competitive style of play, making it so that you don't take out half the game, it feels like. That's not the impression I get because things like Hardline are still in the game, and I assume they take out point streaks for competitive play. So while you would have perks that deal with point streaks, because that just gets taken out, I don't know, I'm not sure what to think. I guess we'll just find out. Really, it looks like Modern War 3 is still going to cater to the pub stomping. Matchmaking just puts you up against whoever it can find, and if you're better, well, then you're just going to go ahead and crush them. That's how you get the higher level air support, and then just go to the town on the other team. Good players will shoot that stuff down, bad players will just sit there and get killed by it over and over again. And just generally make sure the people who don't know how to play the game have a bad day. Okay, so what can Activision Infinity Ward do to make the Modern Warfare release successful? Actually, let me back up here. Every multiplayer game that I've bought in the past couple years that hasn't had a large-scale beta to stress test multiplayer, the multiplayer has not worked right day one. And that's one of the reasons that if a game doesn't have a large-scale beta to test the multiplayer, I probably won't get it day of release. Especially won't be standing in line for something that when I get home and try to start playing the game at about 1 in the morning isn't going to work. Even Halo 3 that had that big beta several months previously, they weren't ready for the number of people who bought the game and got on the day of release. And so we wound up playing through the campaign co-op with 4 of us. It was a lot of fun, but it was several days before multiplayer really was reliable. Modern War 2 was a real pain in the butt because they disabled party chat and you couldn't see who was in the game, so it just, okay, back out, and then you wait for an invite, and maybe you get one, maybe you don't, maybe people hop back into party chat, maybe they stay in game chat. It was a real pain to deal with that. So when I say that I want a Modern War 3 public beta, I hope you don't think that I just want to play the game early. I do, but I think there's a very legitimate reason that they should do that. It seems like every game has to reinvent the wheel for matchmaking. I don't know why Xbox Live doesn't actually include it, because it's a pretty standard kind of feature, like along with party chat. But then Modern War 2 goes, no, we don't want your party chat, and of course a year later when they update party chat, now the in-game chat sounds terrible to us. That's just another problem with going back to play this game, is you gotta put up with the bad chat. And of course if they can put out a decent beta, which I would hope they could because it looks like everything was reasonably in shape for COD XP, that would build up hype for the game. Okay, and finally, with this Call of Duty Elite thing, they obviously made a pretty big mistake. The way they announced it was terribly handled, and I expect they figured out that was not the way to do that. They need to make it clear what's free and what you're going to pay for to get extra, because I don't think they made it clear what you'd be paying for that would be extra at this point. And until I know exactly what I would be paying for extra, I mean, even in terms of they're telling me I'll get DLC, but I really don't know what that's going to be. Until I know what it is, I'm not likely to pay for it. Honestly, so far I'm not terribly impressed. It's just a web interface for the same stats you get in-game. It's a little bit more convenient in some ways than booting up my Xbox, but it's still not terribly well designed. And if that's how the rest of Elite's going to look, I'm not going to be too keen on using it unless it has some really amazing features. And I'll pick up one more death for the road here. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. This was one of the better ones from an afternoon that actually went back to Modern War 2 for a while. And still had some fun, although you still get the noob tubers and the quick scopers everywhere. It gets a little annoying at some point, but still, it's a good game to come back to. We have an AC-130 up, and my sentry's gonna get my last kill for me. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk some more about Modern War 3 at some point. But I want to know a little more, get a little closer to release date. So again, thanks, and I'll see you later.